joining us. We're coming to you from the Athena Hotel in Bugolobi. Welcome to the program. Tonight we'll be talking about Uganda's hospitality industry as seen through the eyes of Ayub Kato, whose inspiring story is our focus for tonight. Ayub, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Josephine.
All right, let's say it as it is. Once again, thank you for joining us. We're coming to you, like I said earlier, from the Athena Hotel in Bugolobi. And my guest tonight is Mr. Ayub Kato, whose inspiring story, like I said, is our point of conversation tonight. Ayub, I was reading about your story. I read about it in the Daily Monitor, and you spoke about, I think it was in your senior six when you lost your father. Was that the turning point for you?
Yes, it was a turning point, but it was a stepping stone for my next life, really.
What was your life like before your next life?
I think I was more of dependent on my dad. So once he was gone, I realized that actually I was going to be on my own, and not only me, but the whole family actually. So that's what I realized. So I had to go on. So I had to think and think fast. So I met a security supervisor at Sheraton who was in the neighborhood in Kamocha, and I explained to him that I wanted some work to do because at the time I had nothing, and I was actually living at a friend's house. He said, "We're having Christmas season, you can come at the Sheraton, there's casual work." So when I reached there, they put me in security, trained me a bit, and put me at the gates. Started working there. The season was over, and they were letting us to go. I said, "You know what? There is food here. I'd rather stay, even if you're not paying me, and just pay me when the functions are." They said, "Fine." So I was able to do that, but within 3 months, I was able to be given a contract at the Sheraton, and that's how I started working at the Sheraton fully. But I wanted to go back to school because that's what was my main. I wanted to go to university. So I got another job from a company called Computer Frontiers, from a gentleman called Charles Mosi, who was the local managing director, and a lady who is in the US called Barbara Keating. They phoned me at the Sheraton actually, and they assigned me to their room. They were doing IT conference for the East African prime ministers, teaching them how to learn internet, email. So Sheraton deployed me, my supervisor deployed me in their conference room. So I was sleeping there overnight. So whenever they would come in the morning, they would see me. So once the conference ended, they had taken my contacts and stuff. So when the official came back to open the company here, I was given an offer. But because I had not studied IT, there was nothing I could do there other than maybe clean the office. So they offered me about 400,000. Yeah, they offered me 400,000 to clean the office every morning. So I would leave the Sheraton if I'd worked night. I'd run to the computer company, do my cleaning, and then go home in the car, sleep a bit. Then in the afternoon, go to the university at 3 and work and study up to 7. Then also plan to go back to the Sheraton. So that was the rotation every day for 3 years.
For 3 years?
Yeah.
What happened after you graduated, left the university?
Yeah.
You went to Kenya?
Actually, before the graduation, we have what we call a management internship. So I went to Kenya. Most students opt to stay in Uganda because it's expensive and stuff. But at least I had the backup of Charles Musi and stuff. I explained to him and Barbara Keating, because I was still working with them, that I really want to go to Kenya. I think that's where, because at the time, they were talking about the best hospitality country and all, the best college. So I said, doing my internship there. So they loaned me $1,000 to go to Kenya. So I paid.
$1,000 was a lot of money then.
Yes, because Kenya Hotel College is not a cheap college either.
That was a lot of trust in you.
Exactly. They loaned me, and I had to pay that money back. So I went to Kenya, and I did my management internship there, and then I came back for my to finish my year, because that was second year. I came back to university to finish my year, And then when I was in Kenya, very interesting, I met somebody who was coming from American Hospitality Academy in the US. One of the students in Kenya who had returned from the US from that academy. So I said, how? Where is it? Because this academy was taking students from all over the world.
Yeah.
But for them, they would emphasize on culture, hospitality. How do you learn from the different cultures, from different countries? I said, I'm interested in that. So when I came back, I introduced it to my class because I was their rep actually at the university. I was the GRC, the guild representative for the hospitality students. So I brought it to them. I said, guys, there's an opportunity to go to the US. I don't know what is in us in Uganda sometimes. They undermine everything when you talk about flying or you're going to do this. So they're all like, that one, they're going to eat your money, you'll not get even a visa.
Experience has taught them.
Exactly.
You can't blame them.
So I was like, all right, so none of them filled in the papers. I went back to Charles Mosi and Barbara Keating. I said, guys, loan me again. You'll deduct.
Had you paid the $1,000 yet?
I had not yet, but we were deducting.
Okay.
Yeah. So I told them I would love to go again to the US and I think this would be very good for me, So they were like, okay, if that's what you want. I mean, they were very, very supportive in my career, I think. And I think I've been lucky in my life that everybody I've met has been very, very supportive. So they loaned me that money because the American Academy wanted $1,000 to have it, to go there. So I paid. They sent me the papers, the registrations. I did all that for the visa. The day came, I told my class, I'm going for my visa, to the US Embassy. I had nobody, I'd never been in the US, no one there, no relative, but I was ready to go. I told my mom, whatever it is, let me go to the embassy, just pray for me. I reached the embassy, put in my papers. The visa counselor never asked me a single question, and he told me, come back for your visa.
This was how many years ago? Because I'm sure the story is different now when you go to get your visa.
This was like, I would say, I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a long time. So they never asked me a question. I got the visa, and I called them. I called my class from there, and I said, you guys, you refused, but for me, I've gotten the visa. Oh, that changed everything. So they also said that I went with 5 students. Finally, 5 students came with me to the US, and we're able to go to the US. But when I landed in the US, if you have never flown, some of these things become complicated, because instead of going to South Carolina, Hilton Head, I ended up in Detroit because of the travel agent who booked my flight. Now at the airport, they were telling me, I was like, I'm supposed to be in Hilton Head. Everybody's like, no, this flight is saying you're coming from Hilton Head to Detroit. I was like, I had $500 that I sold my things, with what my mom sold and what I had in my pocket. That was what was going to kickstart me in the US. And now I had to buy another flight. I can never forget that travel agent. All the way to Hilton Head. I arrived at maybe midnight. The people who were waiting for me had left. So a taxi cab, they had to bleed, guys there to help me, take me where I'm supposed to go. All I knew, American Hospital Academy, I knew the apartment complex because they had sent me those details, and I finally landed in the US in the academy.
With how much in your pocket?
Nothing.
All the $500 had gone?
Had gone.
Okay. So your story progresses from there, but before you get to it, do you think you were lucky? You said you were lucky earlier. Do you think you were lucky, or do you think that anybody who works hard, has the patience, and seeks out the opportunities can grow professionally the way you did?
I think if you work hard and you have passion, you have passion, you have ownership in whatever you do, with a little bit of luck behind your back, you can succeed.
And good people.
And good people. You meet good people along the way. But you not only meet good people along the way. Some people are not very good. But if you're lucky, you can always meet good people.
Okay. So you get to the US, you're in the academy now.
Yeah.
And you study?
Yes. I went to the academy, and it was very interesting. When I reached, of course, we were 5 Ugandans. We were the first Ugandans to join that academy, from Makerere University Business School. And They picked us the next day in the van. Of course, they were going to take care of their $1,000. They were supposed to take care of our meals and the accommodation and the transport back and forth to the academy. So it was amazing because I met people from different countries, and for me this was very unique. Everybody focusing on one thing: hospitality, service.
How long did you study for?
The academy, actually, I was supposed to be there for 1 year, but because I was so good, they placed me. What the academy would do, because that was management internship, they would place you to a property, a facility of your, depending on what you want to specialize in. So they placed me in Marriott, So when they placed me in Marriott, at the same time doing the academy, I only spent 3 months in the academy, and Marriott took over.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after Marriott?
And after Marriott, I worked for, Marriott took me within the first 6 months. I became the front desk manager at the Marriott. And then I became the rooms division manager. This is combining front desk and housekeeping. And then I became operations within the same hotel. That is within 5 years. I was already in operations. That property closed because it was under management franchise. And they transferred me to Baltimore, Maryland, which the company itself had no positions. They had nowhere to place me. So the only position would be housekeeping, which for some reason was like a promotion, but of course they maintained my salary. So I had to pack my bags and head to Baltimore. Remember, I was living in a furnished apartment, so everything fixed was put in my car, and I was just sitting in the front, everything. I didn't have to have a career to drive to Baltimore, and here I arrived in Baltimore.
How old were you at this time?
At that time, I was in my 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you shared some pictures with me, and I think we've gone ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
This was you at...
That was Kenya Utali. I was training as a chef.
This was you training as a chef? This
Yes.
was in Kenya?
That was in Kenya.
Okay, hold on. This is Sheraton.
That is Sheraton.
These
Those are my
your
colleagues.
boys.
Those are my boys. Those are the boys who gave me a penny during that time when I didn't have a job. They were up to now, they're very close to me.
Were they working with you as
They were-
a security guard as well?
Yeah, they were security guards.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this reminds me of visiting day when Uncle Robert would come to take our pictures in school.
Okay.
And then would all stand in front of...
Oh. Yeah, it was a famous, I think up to now, I'm not sure, but that was a famous ground.
This was an end of year party?
End of year party?
Sheraton as well?
Yes.
This is you in your uniform?
Yes, that is me
Your
in my
security
uniform.
guard uniform.
Security guard,
Okay.
And that is with my boy Martin.
Okay. So are you in touch with Martin now?
All the time.
What does Martin do?
Martin has retired. As you can see, I was a very young kid there, so these guys were older than me, and they are doing their private things now.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is you at...
At Marriott, where the academy placed me. That was my first award as employee of the month.
Wow.
That was the general manager, and that was the assistant general manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Young black man flying high.
Yes.
This is?
That is also the same award. Actually, this is a different award, a second award at the Marriott. That was my colleague just congratulating me.
This is you.
Yes.
With all of your awards. I
Well,
see a way to go, Ayub.
Yes. Way to go, Ayub. You are the best.
Okay. And this was you.
I was in Baltimore. That was at the Hilton. That is the Hampton Inn by Hilton. At that time, I was the executive housekeeper when I had just been transferred and I took over that position. So that was the laundry department. The same
Laundry
there.
department.
Yeah,
And laundry department.
laundry department.
Well, you've had quite a journey, Ayub.
Yes.
What have your family members said about your journey so far? Your mother. Did you see her again when you came back?
Yes, when I came back, actually, I made the first trip to go to Uganda, where I come from, and they are very proud of me. They are very proud of me. Of course, we were so many, and when Dad left, and he was the main provider, things became to a standstill and stuff. So me coming out, but and focusing on what I've focused in, they're very proud of me.
Well, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We're coming to you from the Athena Hotel in Bugolobi, and I'm speaking to Ayub Kato, who is, I don't know, should I say your stories are rags to riches? Not quite, right? Not yet there.
Not quite there.
On
but
your way to
I
the
have the
riches.
belief.
On your way to the riches.
Yeah, somebody started from somewhere, so
Okay.
I'm on my way there.
All right. So you've traveled to Kenya, right?
Yeah.
The US as well.
Yes.
Where else?
I've traveled to West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, Liberia, Sierra Leone. I've been really in summer. I've been over 40 countries. I would
Over
say.
40 countries. So over those 40 countries, look at Uganda and tell me about the comparison, our hospitality industry. I know people say we're warm, we're friendly people. I don't know if it's the sun that's warm or if it's the people. What do you think? In all honesty.
Traveling to all these countries, of course, I will not compare the customer service or the hospitality industry when it comes to the US or South Africa. You know, some of those countries, you know, Nigeria, some of the countries have reached a different level of service.
We don't compare at all.
We don't compare to them. So our service here is really normal. It's okay. Okay? If your tea
That
comes
doesn't
out
sound
cold,
good.
no, it's okay. If your tea comes out cold and you complain about it, you know, somebody will not take ownership to take that tea. Most of the time they will say, you know what, just drink it. In their hands, in their eyes, you could see that that's what they're saying. So our service, our hospitality service is still okay to what I have seen. And generally, you can compare yourself to some other African countries, yes, but not some others.
You don't want to you don't want to mention that.
The other countries you
Yes.
compare,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't.
Who is doing better? Because I know a lot of people say, for example, Ugandans, they do say we're warm and friendly, right?
That's what they say.
Then in some neighboring countries, they'll say that people are very cold. But when you get into their hotels, people smile. They're, you know, at what point do we begin to measure hospitality?
To me, you see, when it comes to define what hospitality is, you define it, you know, aligning it with customer service, you know, because it's not even measured. It's an experience. Okay? You can't define it because definitions there could be so many. But when I'm not happy about something, that's how I want to define it. If I'm happy about something, that's how I want to define it. You can't measure great customer experience or you can't measure great guest experience. They have to feel it.
What's been your worst customer experience here, back home?
My worst customer experience here is walking to office, especially government offices, and the people you want to see are not there. And they keep on telling you to come back the next day. Or you go to an office and you just find their suit and they're not there. So, to me, that's
You just find their suit or their jacket on the shelf.
their jacket, whatever it is. It could be a suit too, but they're not there. They're not there to serve people. You know, they're not there to serve people. So you find this in government offices, you find this in private offices as well. But they are taking people's money.
What's your best experience?
My best experience, I would not really say my best experience in Uganda. I'll tell you here, for me to get the best experience, it means I have to be friendly to the people serving me. So if they know you, they will serve you better. If they don't know you, yet service is supposed to be equal, whether you know me or you don't know me. So the best experiences I've received in most of the places is because people know me. You know, for me, there, I cannot say that's the best experience.
That's very sad.
Yeah.
It's a very, very sad picture you're painting.
I wouldn't say it's sad, but it's the reality. It's the reality. You know, you have gone to places, you have gone to restaurants, have you left the place and said, wow? Have you done that?
Okay, let's look at our current shortcomings and try to look at them as opportunities to grow.
Yes.
What should we do?
I think what we should do is, one, when it comes to the hospitality industry, take care of the employees. Because most establishments do not do that. And then they expect so much. You have not fed somebody, you don't know whether they have had transport to come to work. You delay the payment of their salaries, you do not feed them, and then you expect them to come and smile. Really. You know,
You were saying the other day how when you found out that at this particular workplace,
yeah,
this hospitality, organization,
yes,
they weren't feeding
yes,
the waiters and waitresses.
yes. The entire staff, they were not feeding. That's what they were not feeding the entire staff. And I was like, for me, my belief is I only work with clients that have interest to serve their employees and to serve their guests, not to serve just their interests, because that's what is, that most people, that's what they do. You cannot tell somebody, have an employee and somebody comes in and says, "What's your best dish?" And
On the menu.
On the menu. And for you have been feeding this employee from beans from Monday through Sunday, and you're asking that employee, a guest is asking that employee, "What's your best dish?" The employee says, "For us, we don't eat this. Eh? We don't know this food." Yet good establishments, they want to make sure that the employee at least tests this kind of things. So that is unique. So the service has to start from the employees all the way up. Once you make them happy, they become part of you. Employees don't work to have a lot of money. You know, in our industry, because our industry, somehow the salaries are there, but they work to live and have a life. Okay? Money comes in as just a denominator in most of these cases. But they want to be happy. They want to have a belonging to your property. They want to feel ownership. So if you are feeding them, they have lost somebody, you are making sure that, transport is given for them to go and bury. These are small things, but they are big.
So when we're talking about the hospitality industry, what exactly are we talking about? Hotels?
Everything. Restaurants, hotels, parks, whatever. So long as you're going to serve somebody, you are in the hospitality industry.
So
and basically, I'm not talking about just the hospitality, because the issue of customer service, which, entails the entire country, all businesses, not only banks. You go to bank and you are in a line forever, because, and you can see a manager, and that's another thing here. Managers are not trained to be hands-on, or you find an establishment where, it's the manager is just doing managerial work, but you see a line all the way through the door, and you wonder, and somebody calls himself a manager who is not hands-on, so people can be in a line for 2 hours as you're passing them. So this is, it does not really entail only, that's why these other countries, as I say, South Africa, or, you go to Nigeria, that's not the kind of things you see most of the, I'm comparing to Africa now.
What have you seen in those countries that are doing really well?
They have empowered the employees. They give hands-on training. When you come on board as a manager, you should not say, "Oh, me, I can't serve tea." You get? They say, you walk in and stuff, he's doing nothing, the employee is busy, but he can't go to the kitchen to make that order and bring it out. Because he's what? He just want to, you see this all the time. So, yet, this thing has to be hands-on.
So I'm going to ask you that one again.
Yeah.
What have you seen in the US, Nigeria you mentioned?
Yeah. South Africa. Yeah.
That you think we should pick up, or that stands out greatly for you?
To me, it's creating that memorable experience. I'll give you an example. I was in Johannesburg at one time when I was returning home, and I was seated at the airport. I'd ordered, there was meal, drink at the airport, and there was this young man, he was serving, he was a waiter. I would just admire this guy, the way he was doing things, the energy. Here you find that people are like sick, people have not eaten, but they are serving you. But I would eventually I would have missed my flight just looking at the energy of this guy. "Hi, how are you doing? How is everything? How was that tea for you? Do you want me to add you? My name is Ayub. I'm here to take care of you. If you need anything." You rarely find that here. Whether it's manager, you rarely find that here. Because people are like, when I go and say, "How is everything?" he's going to say, this is not good. You see?
I found a hair in my soup.
I found a hair in my soup. That's the fear. Yet, for me, complaints give you the mileage to fix what you have, and yet most people shy away from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're coming to you from the Athena Hotel in Bugolobi, speaking to Ayub. You said you're not yet rich, but
Yeah.
you're well on your way to getting there. What are you doing with yourself now?
I'm a managing partner for Smiling Faces International, basically doing a lot of customer service trainings for both the hospitality establishments and other businesses. I've done banks, I've done IT companies, different industries basically, because at the end of the day, everybody needs service.
So, from a security guard
Yes.
to a managing partner,
Yes.
were you a good smiling person when you were a security guard?
I was always a good smiling person. They don't teach you to smile. It should be natural. Because when you forge a smile, that's forging a smile. But now, to smile, it's natural. It should be natural.
So, smiling faces is what do you do?
Basically, training, service delivery, both for the hospitality establishment, because initially I'd set up Smiling Faces for the hospitality industry. But as things moved on, I realized other industries have the same problem. So if we have a general problem that we have to work on.
You go to a reception and the reception is,
Exactly. The reception is saying, aren't you looking at me? It's me you're looking. What else do you want? So it doesn't matter what kind of service, is going to give you. And this takes on the phone and also physical interaction. Forging a smile. Or saying, I'm the one to serve you. So you say what you want. So this is everywhere.
What would you have us do different as a country?
I think when it comes to service delivery, we need to take ownership. Okay? I'm talking about the private business owners and the government. We need to take ownership of the things we do. Like, for instance, here you find that there are a lot of local owners of hotels and stuff. They have the money, but they don't have the capability or the technical how to run the establishments. So you'll fill in all your relatives and stuff, and the establishment is going down within 6 months. This is a reality. For me, I would advise, get the right people into the right places. Train them. We do not want to invest in training here, because this is an experience I've faced. You go to a client, say, oh, you're too expensive. 2 years down after this, it has gone down, they call you back.
You think a smiling face makes all the difference?
Yes, a smiling face makes it, because it's a welcome. If I come to your house and you're not smiling, I'll have to excuse myself very soon, because I know there is no meal here. That's the reality. If I come to you and you don't smile at me, no, it's not going to work.
So one of the things that's becoming sort of a big thing here, I don't know if it's really a big thing, maybe it's in particular circles, is the Airbnb.
Okay.
That it seems like a cheaper option, to hotel services, and you're sure you're going to be maybe more welcomed. You don't have to deal with the mechanical way that a lot of hotel staff handle situations or handle you. So people are venturing more into Airbnb. What do you think?
Airbnb is good, but it does not move you from the main role of providing excellent or creating experiences for your guests or customers at the end of the day. I think I was in Lesotho, Maseru, where Airbnb is a big thing. Almost every house, has accommodation in the neighborhood. So the bottom line is they're cheap, but not very cheap. Because I don't think we just throw prices. Again, we're not talking to the right person. We're putting the wrong people to manage this. I've ever been in, is it Fort Portal, I think, and we arrived there. The guards were sleeping. We had to hoot for long hours to open the gate. When we reached inside, the room was not even available. So things are not, people are just setting up things, but they don't know, because you have had Josephine Kalonji has set up
Don't do that. Don't spoil
you know,
my name. People will
not you.
never come to my Airbnb.
But they know you have not set up one. That is just an example. But and then Fahad is also going to set up one. You have no idea how the other one is doing his thing. And then with a sudden, it goes down. So we need to make sure that there is a standard. What are you following?
Who sets the standard?
For us privately, as a company, I can set the standards for you. But what I've also realized, you go in, start working for somebody, you fix everything, you do this, then after they have gotten your documentation and how you do everything, the contract is for 6 months or 1 year, they say no. I think reduce this provision. I think then finally they tell you to move on. You get what I mean? So this is a problem now. People not respecting the terms and stuff, but the government also can set up the standards, because this is what they're supposed to do. I don't know what university, whether it gets involved in it, or it's the Hotel Owners Association, or we have a consumer association like in the US, but the standards have to be implemented. People complain about service all the time, but nobody responds. That's why I don't like when I find comment boxes.
Yes, I was going to ask. There's suggestion boxes everywhere.
Yes.
Do they ever open them? You might open and find letters from 10 years ago.
Rarely. They rarely open them. Or if they open them, the manager will pick the good ones. Then the other ones will be shredded or put on fire. So right now you don't need to put comment boxes everywhere. It's social media.
Yes.
Go there, get a quick response, and that's it. And even if you complain, somebody say, what did you complain about? They will ignore. They will just ignore. So this is why we're being beaten.
So we'd rather when we shame them on social media, then they'll take notice and pay attention.
Yes, they will. Because TripAdvisor,
yes,
for the hotel industry, somebody comes and they are not happy with their stay, it's going on there. And there's rating. So everybody should be embraced to go there. Because TripAdvisor encourages you to respond to a guest if that comment is to go away. So these other industries should also emulate on that.
What are we doing about training because you mentioned earlier that the employees need to do their part, but I guess even the people giving the service need to do their part.
Yes.
They have to be trained.
They have to be trained.
Do we have the adequate trainings here?
I think we do have the adequate trainings here, because we, having come back to Uganda the last 5 years, I've interacted with fellow Ugandans, those ones who have been in the industry and stuff. Of course, they may not have the same experience and stuff, but they have the idea on how to move things. So we have the adequate training if we are given an opportunity to do so. Most of the time we are rushing from outside to bring trainers to train and stuff. Yet actually, when you have the right tools in place, you have the right people. So those companies are there. But what I encourage on those companies training, if you have never served coffee or never smiled at anybody, do not go and start training somebody customer service. This is what I see. You go on Google, get the training document, something about customer service, and then you go and do somebody 100,000 per person or 200,000 per person. But you yourself, you have actually never served anybody or smiled at anyone.
Do you think they pay more attention to looks in this industry than what you can actually do?
Actually, I wrote an article in the Monitor about that. This is our problem. They think being beautiful is providing excellent customer service. 90%, that's what most companies do. You get what I mean? For me, as a service provider in the customer service or hospitality industry, I say you have to make sure that you balance both. You get what I mean? Because most beautiful or handsome people, they take care of themselves. In their heads, they know that they are beautiful. So when somebody comes, they will just undermine, because they expect this one is just going to fall for my looks, which is wrong. It should balance, because at the same time, I would never encourage somebody to employ somebody. I call it presentable. I do not want to use the words beautiful or handsome, but somebody has to be presentable. You get what I mean? Presentable covers everything. Your work ethic, your attitude, your passion, your energy. That's the whole thing. You go to a 5-star hotel, and people are robots. They are robots. They can't talk. In our industry, we talk. You have to say, what are you saying? All these things, your emotion, your energy, the way you move, shows what you can do. service is all about that. So that's if that can be improved. For me, looks no. You have to balance both.
What's your nugget of wisdom that hotel owners or service people in the service industry should take away from this conversation with you?
They should take ownership of their establishments. They should also know.
Hold on, you keep saying take ownership.
Yes.
Do you want to explain what that means?
Ownership means that if you're the owner, include your staff, your management to be part of you. Let them feel that they are part of you. That's the ownership I'm talking about. Because the employee has to be part of you to really to serve, to have that, because people work for, as I told you before, people don't work just for money. They work to live and have a good time at work. I've been lucky, as I told you sometimes, because the establishments I worked in, I was happy at work all the time because they made it possible for me to be happy.
What perks were you getting?
Could you repeat that again?
What perks were you getting? You had a salary?
I had a salary,
lunch?
I had a meal, You say meals because
Okay,
when you say
meals.
lunch, meals. If I lost somebody in the family, they would, take care of that. We had bonuses for hard work. You get bonuses also for employee of the month or anything like that.
Recognition?
Recognition was highly. There's so many different things that we would do. Birthdays, small things, but they mean a lot. And sometimes these things don't cost a lot, So that's what employees, owners should do. Also, let them professionalize the business. Okay? I understand if you have a good relative, okay, and is very qualified to work in that industry or to work for you, then you can give them a job. But do not employ somebody who has no technical on how to run a business to be your assistant general manager. Then is actually leading the people who have the qualifications. You're going to bring the business down. And for me, what I do care about as one of my things I do is making sure that when I come to your establishment, I analyze it. I want it to go up. I want it to do better. So those kind of things I've fallen into running into relatives, myself. They have no idea what is happening apart from maybe telling the owner, oh, he's doing this, even when you're not doing anything. And that's what is bringing the businesses down in our country.
When you look at our hospitality industry, now on its own, you said we're doing okay.
Yes.
How do we go from okay to we're doing great?
How
do we take what everybody says about, oh, Uganda people are nice, they're smiley, they're friendly, whatever, to actually giving people a good experience when they come here?
You see, I do not want to be here and then try to criticize any department that is in charge of anything. But there is also saying things that we smile, those are generic statements that are, for me I call it spade. Those are generic statements because that's what is written, or whoever wrote it. We are doing, we smile, we are this way. But in reality, are you sure? Is that what they are doing? We need to be really, really, really natural about anything we do and stuff. We have, the hospitality industry in Uganda is huge, okay, when it comes to the amenities that we can offer. But what is lacking really for me is the people, that are working in the industry to reach that level, creating those customer experiences. Because every country will have what we have. But what will somebody choose to go and come here? Mostly it's going to be the service. It is going to be service, and the word of mouth usually seals it. The people were very nice. You can never take that statement away from anybody.
But it's really the truth. The people are really nice.
The people were very nice. What it is right now, you can go to, I'm not saying all the establishments, some are trying, where we are here, people are trying. You get what I mean? They're trying. But in reality, not everybody is trying. Because if you can't take care of the customer complaints, if a customer complains and you're saying, it's always like that, that kind of thing, the customer is always right to me, and it will always be like that.
All right. Thank you so much, Ayub.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. And I hope I've done really well with my customer service throughout the show. Have I?
Thank you for smiling. Yes.
I tried really hard. Well, that brings us to the end of our show for tonight. We've been speaking to Ayub, who was talking to us about the hospitality industry through his own eyes, from his journey right from catering school, it was?
Yes, MOPS.
To MOPS catering school, and up to his journey to Kenya,
US.
the US, and then coming back home
Yes.
to Uganda, and what he's seen and how he thinks we can do better. Coming up is NTV Weekend Edition.